Hey everyone, Brett here. Good to be with you again. And I've got another question. Someone's given me a question today. What do I do? Well, the wind's picked up. Once again, what do I do when life doesn't make sense? This is a good question. I've just got to decide how deep I go with this answer. What do I do when life doesn't make sense? You know what? Stop trying to make sense of it, for starters, because life itself, in its nature, is not meant to be made sense of. Let's be with that for a moment. But and you might say, oh, but I want to make sense of it. I want to be certain. I want to make sure. The intelligence that organises life, that created the sun, the moon, the stars, the birds, the bees, the trees, that moves the oceans, that moves the winds, that created the cells of our body and allows us to think, feel and experience life, is very intelligent. And our brain, or our mind, let's say, our thinking mind, based on what it's been taught, the system of thought in which we've been conditioned, indoctrinated into, is very reductionist. So it wants to make sense, and it wants to categorise, and it wants to put things into boxes, and it wants to make sense. Okay? We're trying to make sense of something that's incredible, that's beyond comprehension. It's even beyond explanation, even though we're trying to explain it. You know, it's to be experienced, it's to be lived, it's to be embraced, it's to be embodied, it's to be lived. Life's here to be lived. It's not to be made sense of. At times we want to make sense of our situation, our circumstance, what's going on, why is this happening? I get it, I fucking do it too. But life itself is not meant to be made sense of, because it's beyond making sense of. We can experience, have insight, have some sort of minute understanding of the complexity of this incredible system, and do our best to play our role here, our part in this extraordinary ecosystem that we are part of, and we do participate in, and we do influence and impact in a way. We do. And so it does matter how you show up. It does matter how we contribute and what we bring to this space, because what we bring, we get more of. Well, like the essence of who we are and what we're vibrating, the frequency we're vibrating, the energy that we're putting out, is what gets reflected back to us. And that creates a ripple that sends a ripple in the pond that comes back and forth. It's just often, a lot of the time, we're running a destructive format. This part of us that wants to make sense of things is making sense from a level of destructive thought, like the system of thought in which we've been indoctrinated into, conditioned into, taught, is a self-serving system that is based around fear and lack and scarcity and control. So, and it's destructive. Not only it's being destructive, it's self-destructive. So if we're trying to make sense of the complexity of life, the wisdom that organises everything, that is everything, that we're part of, that we are, that we participate in, that we live, that we experience, that we embrace, that teaches us, we're trying to make sense of that from a destructive level of thought. That's trying to put things into a box. That's trying to say, well, this isn't fair. Why is this happening? Why is this happening in the world? I get it. The world's a lot of the world's fucked in a lot of ways. It's that simple. But it's because people are trying to make sense of life from a very minute perspective. And this person's or this group's viewpoint that they're making sense of life with, and this group is conflicting. So they go to war. Go to war and battle over these belief systems, these values of truth, which is what they're making sense of life. So it's not meant to be made sense of, or definitely not from the level of thought that we generally operate from. So when we connect to a higher field and connect with this aspect of life in a way that goes beyond general thought, then we can, in a way, make sense of it, but it's still not analysing it and going, oh, this is what's going on right now. It's just a connection. It's a connection and a knowing. And really, in that space, we start to tune into a frequency or an energy or a intelligence, a different way of doing things. And you don't have to try there to do that. When you're in that space, it just happens. It just happens, and we're not considering so much all this other stuff. What we think we need, what we think we need to do. I call it an energy-rich space where life's just happening. The yogis call it living your dharma. Living dharma or karma. And a lot of different traditions call it different things. They've all got a name for this, and it's a space where you respond from rather than react, and it's spontaneous right action, and it's not self-serving. It's just what we feel or experience, what we need to do at that time. It doesn't matter if it's comfortable. Doesn't matter if it's not what the culture expects or we're supposed to do. When you're in that space, you're able to respond and just act accordingly to what that intelligence or that frequency is sharing. It's beyond the level of thought, but it's just a knowing, and you just operate from there. I've experienced this, many, many times, and there's a flow to life when this takes place. I've also experienced trying to make sense of life, trying to make sense of things, and living in that other space that's self-serving, that's reductionist, and it's very destructive. It's very destructive. You can go back and forth between them. Sometimes we just need to preserve. We've only got the capacity to be able to think about ourselves, about our environment, our small environment around us, and that's okay. But we just also too need to realise that if we're trying to make sense of life from here, that's all we're going to get. And it's just going to go in a loop, and it's just going to continue. So I guess the moral to the story is we want to be able to access a higher capacity within ourselves. When we do that, we don't so much need to make sense of life anymore. We just access this space, respond from there. One thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and things start to align. Funnily enough, this intelligence that's, I say greater than us, but it is us. So it's our greater self rather than this small self. And it when we're in that space moving like that, it's contributing to that and helping us move in that direction. Life wants evolution, it wants growth, it wants expansion, and it wants us to move towards more. But not more of this, not more of the destruction, not more of the chaos, not more of making sense from this level. More of connecting to here, aligning from here, responding, reacting if necessary. But it's a response when we're in this space. There's an awareness that comes online that allows us to respond accordingly. If we need to react with aggression or to react with force, we will, but it won't be in a violent manner. It won't be in a way that is destructive. It will be coherent, aligned, and responsive. Anyway, don't try and make sense of life. Experience life, live life, be life, play with life. This extraordinary game, this incredible experience that we're living in, this field that we're participating in, that we are. Live it, love it, experience the whole range. Don't try and make sense of it. Much love.